There is a moment just before death when silence takes hold. Not peace, never peace, but a stillness that suffocates, as if the world has stopped to watch you suffer. That moment lingers over Raccoon City, like a shroud. The infection has taken hold. Streets once filled with life are now battlegrounds of the grotesque. Sirens no longer wail. No help is coming. In the midst of all of it stands a structure meant to preserve life, but inside, there are no healers. Only halls of the forgotten, sterile, clinical, and soaked in unseen blood. It is not a place of healing anymore. The survivors who step inside aren't looking for hope. Hope is already dead. They're looking for a place to hide, even if it's only for a few more hours. But what they find beneath the whitewashed walls and sealed corridors is a deep kind of horror, a place twisted into something inhuman, a research facility wearing the mask of compassion, a slaughterhouse built in the name of science. The monsters here don't claw and bite. They infect. They kill. And some wear the faces of the dead. It is here in the belly of this false sanctuary that the illusion finally breaks. The mask comes off. What stands exposed beneath the surface is something that reaches beyond Umbrella, beyond the outbreak, a revelation about when medicine loses its soul. Without ethics, science would be cruelty. Ninia Campbell. That's what this place is, cruelty dressed in white coats. The doctors here didn't fail. They complied. They obeyed. And now, the sins committed in these corridors are rising from the floors, dragging the innocents with them. There is no rescue. There is no redemption, only the cold hum of machines, the stench of rot, and the knowledge that no matter how far you descend, the worst is still below you. If you're still watching, you're not here by accident. You came looking for the truth, but the truth doesn't set you free. It leaves you screaming in the dark. Raccoon General Hospital, it's where the city's most vulnerable were supposed to be healed, where families once trusted the doctors to mend broken bones and aching hearts. It is supposed to be a beacon of hope in a city that thrived on the medical innovation brought by Umbrella Corporation. Its walls scream sanctuary, but like everything in Raccoon City, that sanctuary was a lie. Beneath the surface, beneath the sterilized appearance of the hospital, the truth slithers. This place was never about healing. It was about control. Control of life. Control of death. Control of the unknown. What the city didn't know was that the hospital had always been a test site for Umbrella's most unspeakable experiments. While its staff did its best to treat the sick, those under Umbrella's stronghold participated in creating something deeper than the surface-level corruption of corporate greed. Now the halls are a labyrinth of silence. The sterile white corridors echo with nothing but the occasional footsteps, broken only by the occasional groan of the walls, or the sound of distant inhuman wails. The building stands mostly abandoned, but it's far from empty. The flickering lights are the last sign of life in a place now dominated by the things that lurked in the dark. For those familiar with the events of Resident Evil 3, the hospital's design will seem oddly familiar. The same main structure can be seen here, but Outbreak brings new dimensions to it. Areas once accessible are now barricaded. Yet even with new spaces, the hospital retains the sense of looming dread, a feeling that something is off, even before the outbreak. However, for players familiar with Resident Evil 3 Remake, continuity issues begin to surface. While the hospital in the remake shares the basic structure of its Resident Evil 3 counterpart, certain key designs diverge, potentially confusing those invested in the series' timeline. For one, the Resident Evil 3 Remake hospital presents a more condensed version of the Raccoon General Hospital. While the hospital is featured as part of the story, many sections seen in the original game and Outbreak have been altered, rearranged, or completely removed. The remake cuts several areas that were once part of the hospital's layout, such as the escape route, which plays a pivotal role in the Outbreak survivors escaping. The reimagined hospital design in the remake focuses heavily on streamlining the experience, leaving less room for exploration and few hidden horrors lurking in the darkened corners. In Outbreak, the hospital is portrayed as much more than just a backdrop. It is a multi-layered experience filled with disturbing echoes of Umbrella's experiments. Underneath the walls of Raccoon General Hospital lies a dark secret. What appeared to be a safe haven for the sick and the wounded is in truth a mere facade hiding Umbrella's twisted experiments. Far from being just a medical institution, the hospital has become a testing ground for the corporation's darkest secrets. Secrets that would eventually be unleashed upon the world. One of the most horrifying of these experiments is the Leech Man, a massive T-virus infected leeches that controlled a human host. This singular entity was ultimately destroyed within the hospital when the survivors banded together to exploit its weakness to extreme heat. It's crucial that we distinguish the Leech Man from the mimicry Marcus from Resident Evil 0. While both involve leech-based mutations, the mimicry Marcus was a humanoid form composed of leeches that imitated the appearance of James Marcus. Beneath the hospital, the waste disposal room connects to the sewer system, hinting at the facility's deeper, more sinister underpinnings. This area, along with others like the underpass entrance, served as escape routes for the survivors, revealing the hospital's complex and concealed infrastructure. The survivors' journey through the Hive is a treacherous fight for survival, but it's also a race against time as they navigate through the twisted hallways of Raccoon General Hospital. With no clear leader or exclusive protagonist, the team's survival is dependent on their cooperation and ability to adapt to the horrors around them. As the scenario begins, the oppressive atmosphere sets in. The survivors encounter Dr. Hirsch, whose appearance is ominous, a man with knowledge of the hospital but none of the answers they need. The survivors are isolated and must explore the hospital with minimal resources. As the survivors progress, they encounter the Leech Man, who is relentless, invincible to weapons, and the capability of mortally wounding them. They must desperately find a way to kill it. They brave the hospital's darkened halls, hunted by the relentless Leech Man, solving puzzles to unlock new areas. They must exploit its one weakness: extreme heat. As they continue their journey, they find themselves uncovering more of Umbrella's sinister secrets that were never meant to be seen. The survivors eventually trap the Leech Man and incinerate it, thus ending the threat once and for all. As the flame dies down to embers, they see through the carcasses of dead leeches that a familiar form lies before them. The realization that the Leech Man was Dr. Hirsch serves as a chilling reminder that anyone can become a victim of Umbrella's cruel design. Eventually, the survivors are led to a boat, which seems to be the last hope of escape. But before they can get away, they happen upon the monstrous giant leech. They must face the giant leech to move on to the faint glimmer of light and refuge. Using their wits, the survivors must navigate through the narrow underpass while utilizing the overhead valves to create opportunities to strike. With a valiant effort, the survivors defeat the giant leech and secure their path to safety, for now. In the end, the journey through the Hive is not one of heroism, but of survival. The survivors, driven not by a will to save the world, but by the instinct to endure for just one more moment, find themselves trapped in a maze of horrors created by Umbrella's cold indifference. The hospital, once a place of hope and healing, now stands as a testament to human suffering, a symbol of science corrupted by its own hubris. As the survivors fight through its sterile halls, facing monsters, the true nature of Umbrella's experiments becomes terrifyingly clear. Pursuit of knowledge at any cost, no matter the lives it destroys in its wake. The words of George Bernard Shaw remind us of the dangers of blind faith in authority. The single biggest problem in communication is the illusion that it has taken place. Some medical professionals saved lives, but others, blinded by trust, allowed horrors beyond imagination to unfold by failing to question Umbrella's work. The evil wasn't just in the experiments or deception, it was the failure to communicate the truth, keep the darkness they were complicit in. The survivors' ordeal is far from over. Raccoon General Hospital may have been the battlefield, but the true horrors lie beneath the surface, where the wreckage of science and humanity intertwines. And as the survivors navigate the labyrinth of death, one final question remains: how many more hospitals, lives, and institutions have been sacrificed on the altar of ambition? How many more monsters, human and otherwise, still hide in the shadows, waiting to be unleashed?